This is gonna be a fun one. It wasn't until recently that I switched to Mac, but when I was using Windows on a computer as a kid, this was the computer I was always eyeing on eBay. And I made sure to pull out all the stops. We got 15-inch, Core i7, it's gonna be a blast. Alright, so this is the laptop itself. We got a bunch of cables. Now, I like this computer model so much that before we even turn the thing on, I'm going to clean it up, take the back out. I'm actually going to replace the thermal paste on it, just so we get the best performance possible. Oh, and it seems like there's a keyboard cover on this thing. Yeah, I'm not using that. Remember, only use water to clean your Mac screens. Anyways, let's quickly tear this thing apart, get it open, clean it up, and make it ready to use. Now, I know this channel is mainly about software and how things work today, but honestly, just refurbishing computers and like building them and stuff like that, I just get such a kick out of it. Alright, I think that's all the screws. Let's see what's inside. And from what I'm seeing, I mean, there's a bit of dust and stuff in here, but it's actually not that bad. Taking a look inside here, it seems like we still have the OEM battery, which kind of sucks. I was hoping this guy replaced it. But on the upside, we got 2 dies inside here, so it probably means we have a GPU inside this machine. Warning, service only by an Apple authorized service provider. Will they even fix it today? Seems like it's connected in there pretty strongly, but I don't want to work on this with the battery in there in case I short something. Can I just, like... Oh, okay, here we go. I fix it just as to get in there with a spudger and just pry it up. There we go. Now we unscrew and unplug whatever this mess is. Oh, by the way, quick tip if you're going to be working on a Mac, you probably want to take a picture of the motherboard before you start unscrewing stuff, because chances are you're going to lose something. Okay, and with all that unscrewed, heatsink should, yep, just come right off. And I mean, while we're at it, we may as well just take the fans apart to clean those too. After that, we clean up the old paste, and put a healthy amount of new paste on. That actually might be too much, but who cares? Now we put everything back together, close it up, and finally, let's take a look at how usable the MacBook Pro 2012 is in 2026. It seems like we're booted into macOS Catalina, which actually might be the latest version this laptop can run, at least officially, but what's the password, like 1111? Oh, you know what, the packing slip that came with it says the password is 1234. I'm surprised I didn't try that to begin with. And just checking about this Mac, it seems like we are on Catalina, and yep, the specs check out as well. We got the quad-core i7, 8 gigs of DDR3 RAM, and wait, no dedicated GPU? That kinda sucks. But it's not all bad because we got this super high-res display at 15 inches. And on top of all of those goodies, we have an SSD as well, so we should just be flying on this thing. Let's fire up Internet Recovery to restart the system and see what version this Mac can really run. And yeah, this confirms it. So the latest version that'll run on the 2012 MacBook Pro is macOS Catalina. That's actually not too bad if you consider it, because Catalina came out in 2019 and this came out in 2012, so 7 years of support for a computer. Speaking of which, we're like on the 6th year of the Apple M1 chip and that thing is still flying, so will that be dropped? And after letting it install, we gotta sign in with our Apple ID, and does it still work on Catalina? I mean, last time I tried it on the High Sierra, it actually didn't. Oh, and while I type in my password, I've gotta say, this older keyboard, while it is a bit more mushier than the MacBook Pro we got today, I actually prefer that. I think it's got something to do with the keyboards back before Apple was obsessed with making everything super slim. They've got a bit more travel. Oh, wait, what? Seriously? There was an error connecting to the Apple ID server? It's only like 7 years old. Okay, I guess we'll just set that up later. Oh yeah, that's right, macOS Mojave, which is actually the version before Catalina, it introduced the dark mode, which is a huge win for Mac users, because could you imagine being blinded by this thing the entire day? And after finishing setup, we get asked to update our Mac, and wait, macOS Catalina security update from January 2026? This thing is still getting patched? Personally, I thought any macOS version older than 4 years was just left in the dust, so it's actually pretty cool to see Apple still maintain this. And now we're on macOS Catalina 10.15.8, so let's see how fast this is. Now, when it comes to older Macs, I would definitely say this is on the higher end, and it shows. Just brisking through macOS, I don't think you could make this thing slow down if you tried. And look how fast it is when I just open an app like Safari. So, the first thing I want to test out here, how well will it handle YouTube at a high resolution? One thing that's surprising me is when I'm playing the video and I turn the volume up, even with all the speaker space, it still sounds kinda tinny. And that's kinda strange, the video itself on Safari can't go past 1080p 60, so I guess we're gonna have to download Chrome. I know for a fact High Sierra doesn't work, but will Catalina? And according to this message right here, we gotta update to macOS 11 to get updates to Chrome. Aw man, what a shame, I can't have Gemini forced on me. To be completely serious though, that's kinda bad, especially when it comes to security, but hey, at least the browser's still pretty fast. Anyways, how well can it handle a YouTube video at 2K, which is actually the native resolution, or at least closest to it? And inside of full screen, YouTube at 2K 60 FPS, we're barely dropping any frames. This is really impressive for a 14-year-old laptop. But aside from the OS and the exclusive apps, one of the main reasons you'd want to pick up an old Mac like this is for the integration with Apple ID. So can we sign in after setup? And thankfully, yeah, we can still log in with our Apple ID on this thing, so we should be able to text with iMessage, right? Hello from Peak. And checking on my phone, yup, message went through just fine. Oh yeah, that's another reason you might want to buy an older Mac today. I'm using this app called Open Bubbles. You download a program on your Mac, you scan a QR code, log in with your Apple ID, tricks it into thinking you're sending your text messages from your Mac. So cool. And you don't even have to keep the Mac running, you can just set it and forget it. Okay, I'm done with my tirade about the Apple services. Let's try out some games on this thing. I last played this game on the lowest graphics settings of the MacBook Air 2011, and I averaged around 45 FPS, so it'd be pretty cool to see what we get on this. And on the lowest settings, Roblox Arsenal is a smooth 60 FPS, no problems here. So this thing already blows the 2011 Air out of the water, but how well will it handle max graphics settings? Yeah, on the higher graphics settings with the Intel HD inside of this thing, we're running at around 45 FPS, but hey, the game looks fantastic, so I'll take it. Also, just listen to those fans. And if you're not impressed by this performance, keep in mind, we're playing the game at 2K, alright? This isn't 1080p. What about Minecraft Java then? And when trying to log in with my Microsoft account, I get this fun error that says, please retry with a different device. You're the best, Microsoft. If you installed Linux on this thing, you'd be able to get away with a lot more when it comes to playing games on it, but because we're using macOS, we're kinda just SOL. So after that, I guess we'll take a look at one of the things Mac does best, creative work with Final Cut Pro. Oh, this is a neat text blurb. What's new in Final Cut Pro? Optimized for Apple Silicon. Thanks. I went to the Kodi website and grabbed some example 4K 60 footage, so let's see how well this can handle it. Oh, and I'm just now realizing after hitting about this Mac, apparently we do have a GPU inside this thing, the NVIDIA GeForce GT 650M at 1GB of VRAM. Now, I'm not really sure why it didn't show this the first time I used the Mac, but after reinstalling macOS, everything seems to be okay, so let's just continue. Editing 4K 60 footage on this Mac is a pretty painful experience. I mean, it's pretty choppy, but if you had to make it work, I guess you could struggle through it. The preview up here is pretty much unusable, but I mean, if you just skim through it with like the timeline, it's not half bad. Let's half the resolution down to 2K 60 and try that instead. I think 2K is the sweet spot when it comes to editing video on this Mac, because I haven't seen a single drop frame when it comes to this preview. Final Cut Pro is exclusive to Mac, so if you needed some cheap hardware to at least get some edits done, this is actually not that bad of a solution. So the MacBook Pro 2012 Retina is still a great machine on Catalina. The only issue is kind of the wavering app support, which we can actually fix with OpenCore. We're going to use this tool to upgrade this awesome machine to a more modern OS, macOS Sequoia. The last time I tried this out on the 2011 MacBooks, it didn't really go that well performance-wise, mainly because those Macs didn't support Metal. But this one does, and it has a dedicated GPU, so I'm expecting great things out of Sequoia. This is probably a bad way to explain it, but the way this works is it installs like a new boot environment for your Mac to trick it into running the newer versions. After installing it to disk, all we gotta do is make a USB installer for Sequoia. Hey, look, actual USB-A ports. Really be nice to have those on the Macs today. We're gonna use 15.7.4, and after nearly an hour of waiting, seems like the installer finished, so let's shut down the Mac, turn it on by holding options, and boot into the installer. Now we head inside EF5 boot to use OpenCore, and install macOS Sequoia. Okay, cool. That's not really what I was expecting. It's really small. I guess we'll just install macOS Sequoia from this tiny menu. Based on how this works, we should be able to just move all of our stuff over from Catalina and do an in-place upgrade. And after another hour of waiting, we're booted into macOS Sequoia, but we can't really use it just yet. We have to install the OpenCore patches. Oh, by the way, here's where you want to be extremely careful if you're updating your Mac. If you just click continue and like brisk through the menu, it's going to update itself to Tahoe, and Tahoe has no support for OpenCore, so you'll just be screwed. Alright, so let's start root patching. And after rebooting, we should be getting the maximum performance out of this thing. So how long is it going to take to log in? Okay, so around 15 seconds. It's not terrible, but wait, where's the wallpaper? There it is. Anyways, after installing Sequoia with all the root patches, I've got to say, it's not really as fast as I was expecting. I mean, they still open decently fast for this hardware, but it's not like, you know, like instant, you know? Which I guess that's a bit high of an expectation for hardware from 2012 running software from 2025, but hey, it's still usable. I definitely think the dedicated GPU and the i7 are making this a way better experience than it could have been, because, like I said before many times on the 2011 Air, this was not as good as it is here. Let's try to see if we lose any performance by jumping all the way up to Sequoia. Looks like we're now running the latest version of Chrome with AI mode. Yay! Even though we're on a software version that's like 6 years newer, 2K YouTube is still no problem for this thing. Can Roblox still keep up though? On the lowest graphics settings, I'm hearing the fans kick on, which that didn't happen before, but we're actually still maintaining around 60 FPS. Albeit there is a stutter here and there. And on the highest graphics settings, we're still somewhat maintaining what Catalina did, around 45 FPS. It's kind of hard to show on camera, but I think the issue isn't the frame rate, but more so like the micro stutters that happen when you're playing the game. Oh, you know what? Now that we're on a newer software version, Minecraft should let us log in, right? And hilariously, yeah, no, we just can't log in. Thank you, Microsoft. And it seems like our version of Final Cut Pro is outdated and won't run, so we gotta update that. Just drag this in. Final Cut Pro just crashes immediately. Even on the 2011 MacBook Air, I was able to at least drag in the 4K footage and have it struggle. Here, it won't load at all. Apparently the issue is caused by me using the latest version of Final Cut Pro Trial 11.2, so we gotta downgrade back to 11.1 for it to work. Strange. And hey, it actually works. Somehow it's a night and day difference compared to Catalina. This is like buttery smooth, dude, and on Catalina it was just kind of unusable. And it's not the rendering either, because I let it process on Catalina as well, so I guess just upgrading to Sequoia makes 4K editing usable on this thing. That's pretty neat. Being able to edit 4K 60 on this laptop, at least for me, means that this is completely usable today. I'm really impressed. And I mean, come to think of it, it does have a 2-inch bigger screen than my MacBook Air M1. Do I switch? It is pretty tempting, but I'm gonna stick to Apple Silicon. Oh, you know what? Speaking of which, can this thing run Tahoe? Now, I was planning to end this video after I was done with Sequoia, but you've seen it yourself. This is perfectly usable today, so how well will it run with Tahoe, an unsupported version when it comes to OpenCore? Based on how Sequoia's running, I think we might be able to actually handle liquid glass on this. After a couple more hours of waiting, we have the update installed, and judging by the liquid glass up here, I think it was a mistake. Oh, and you remember that thing I said about OpenCore not supporting Tahoe? Yeah, the keyboard doesn't work anymore. That's a problem. Alright, can we at least struggle our way through this by using USB peripherals? Yeah, no input from this either. I'm not even seeing like the lights light up when you hit number lock. So macOS Tahoe on this thing is a complete disaster. I mean, I can't even log in. But when it came to Catalina and especially Sequoia, this thing still keeps up today. Even with Apple Silicon and the M1 Air going for around $300 today, I would say this is still a good value because I found this on eBay for $110. And I only tested out macOS today. If you install Windows or Linux on this thing, it's gonna just be absolute peak. Glazing aside, thanks for watching, and let me know down in the comments, what other laptops, MacBooks, MacBook Airs you want me to take a look at next. Alright, I'll see you later.